Good day, everyone. So I am Novemay Trinidad, and I am the one who will going to continue the discussion with the topic Reading Back and Robin's conceptual model of corporate moral development in business ethics. The previous reporter has mentioned already the five stages. So pursuing this further, Rudenbach and Robbins' model proposes that there are five stages of organizational morality and ethics, and these are the amoral, legalistic, responsive, emerging ethical, and ethical. However, the model argues that an organization's culture, the shared values and beliefs of its members, or the way we do things here, which is heavily influenced by leadership role modeling, is the foundation on which organizational morality develops. So, however, this model is inspired by Lawrence Kohlberg's stages of moral development. So, Ridenbach and Robin asserted that a direct application of Colbert's model is not possible since individuals do not develop in the same manner as organization. However, Colbert's theory proposes that there are three levels of moral development, with each level split into two stages. Colbert suggested that people move through these stages in a fixed order, and that moral understanding is linked to cognitive development. The three levels of moral reasoning include pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional. However, moral development of any organization can start at any stage and move up or regress. So now, let's proceed with the stages of organizational development. The stages of organizational moral development. Stage 1, the amoral organization. Stage 2, the legalistic corporation. Stage 3, the responsive corporation. Stage 4, the emergent ethical organization. And the stage 5 is the ethical organization. And for the stage 1, the amoral organization. This organization is the lowest level organizational development, and it is defined by a winning at any cost attitude. Ethics is the least of its concerns. The only concern the organization has is for profit, and it will break any ethical or moral rules in the pursuit of that profit. Organizations like this typically don't last long. However, it only thinks about ethics when it gets caught in some wrongdoing. For this type of organization, the only social responsibility of a business is to make a profit. As Ridenbach and Robin say, top management rules by power and authority, and employees respond by acquiescing to that authority and power through a reward system which supports a go along type of behavior. And those who obey the rules without question are rewarded, while those who dare to question management are ultimately punished by expulsion from the organization. However, employees are treated as mere means for productivity and profit for the enterprise. The ethical culture of stage 1 organization can be summed up in the ideas that they will never know. Everybody does it. We will not get caught. And there is no way anyone will ever find out. So, from this perspective, the owners and investors are the most important stakeholders. And I think the best example for this is those what we call investment scams. Like before, I know that all of us are aware of what happened last 2019, I think. And all of the people are investing money, but at the end, they lost it. And it affect their lives, livelihood, or the source of their living. So with that, I could say that that's one of the example of the immoral organization, which they their motive is just to uh, produce profit that in a very wrong way, and that's a moral organization. So let us proceed to the stage two, the legalistic corporation. So this is the lowest level of sustainable moral development for organizations. Organizations at this stage understand the rules and adhere to existing legal and regulatory frameworks, often willing to stay just on the right side of the law in the pursuit of profits. Um, an organization in the state of moral development exhibits respect for laws, codes, and regulations. This firm is concerned with following state rules, placing a premium on the legality of an action over the morality of it. So it places a great deal of responsibility on its legal team to make sure that corporate policies are executed in accordance with the laws of the state so as to avoid any legal complications. So, however, stage one shares the principality of the profit motive, while stage two is concerned with the legality of the way by which profit is gained, and that is the legalistic corporation. Now, so let us proceed to the stage three, which is the responsive corporation. However, this type of corporation begins to acquire values other than profitability and legality. Firms have it in their interest to do right, but it considers more as an expediency rather than an end in itself. In other words, these types of corporations are inclined to give in to societal demands and therefore realize that business has an obligation to operate with society in mind. They have a code of ethics that seeks to align corporate goals with societal demands. As Friedenbach and Robin clarify, concern for other stakeholders begins to manifest itself as managements to begin to realize the importance of employees and the community in which they operate. This nascent concern is not motivated by of doing right for right's sake, but rather is a recognition of of the organization's greater social role. And at this stage, doing good is a matter of expediency. So, in short, this organization is a balance between profits and doing right. And that is a responsive corporation. Okay, so we are now in stage four, which is the emergent ethical organization. However, this type of organization actively seeks greater balance between profit and ethics. It recognizes the existence of social contract between business and society. However, various instruments are designed to make sure that the firm and its various agents conduct business ethically, such as handbooks, policy statements, committees, ombudsman, and ethics program directors that seek to manage and ethically account for the conduct of the organization with respect to its various responsibilities to different stakeholders. So, further, Redenbach and Robin give the example of Boeing and General Mills to illustrate what happens at this stage. Boeing facilitates ethics training programs and has installed a toll free number for employees to report ethical violations. However, General Mills recruits individuals that share the same cultural and ethical values with the company. It also has a set of guidelines for dealing with vendors, competitors, and customers. However, Erdenbach and Robin note that while responsive corporations begin to develop ethical mechanisms to increase the probability of ethical behavior, however, these organizations not yet fully comfortable with their implementation. So the top management recognizes the importance and value of this type of behavior, but lacks the experience and expertise to make it work effectively. So, in other words, although stage 4 firms recognize the value of ethics, they lack the necessary proficiency in administering and maximizing the potential of ethical mechanisms. Nonetheless, there is a real effort in making sure that profits are earned morally. So simple to say, this organization seeks a greater balance between profits and ethics. So we are now at the last stage, which is the ethical organization. Further, Reidenbach and Robin describe this type of organization as follows. First is stage 5 behavior is characterized by an organization wide acceptance of a common set of ethical values that permeates the organization's culture. This cover values guide the everyday behavior of an individual's actions. Decisions are made based on the inherent justness and fairness of the decision as well as the profitability of the decision. In this sense, there is a balance between concerns for profits and ethics. Employees are rewarded for walking away from actions in which the ethical position of the organization would be compromised. So, another one is at this stage, normative moral theories are used as guides for designing various organizational activities. There is also a continuing ethical training program that is integrated with the employees' technical training program. So, this kind of culture has a deep sense of duty and obligation to what is right and fair. So, the job is evaluated from moral standpoint, highlighting dimensions that pertain to social responsibility, fairness, and justice. So, however, stage 4 heavily relies on the ethical mechanisms to enforce ethical behavior, while this stage 5 has already imbibed ethics in its corporate culture. So, in stage 5, there is perfect harmony of the correct action and the ethical action. One, therefore, sees why she would have a difficult time funding companies that have reached this level of moral development. And that is the stage 5. So, for the conclusion, these 5 stages illustrate how corporations vary in their understanding and appreciation of ethics and its relation to the profit motive. As firms progress up the stages, ethics becomes more integrated in their operations. The stages help one understand how different companies try to inculcate ethical behavior in their various dealings with various stakeholders. So, the corporate moral development exhibit the moral maturity of the leader and organization through certain behaviors, attitudes, values, corporate culture, explicit and implicit artifacts. However, ethics may not be the prevailing motive of an ethical company, but it seeks to frame its profit making agenda within just and fair practices that are conscious of all stakeholders. including the natural environment. So that ends the discussion. So I hope you learned something and thank you for listening.